Not all that glitters is diamonds. Hello, my name is Prachi Patel, and I'm going to be giving my presentation on how diamonds compare to diamond alternatives and synthetic diamonds in the context of jewelry. To begin, let's consider how the quality of diamonds is determined. Diamonds have been prized since antiquity for both their rarity and beauty. They were symbols of power and wealth. The qualities of diamonds that contribute to this great beauty and therefore the value of a diamond are index of refraction, dispersion, also known as fire, clarity, and color. Index of refraction. Index of refraction is how much slower light travels through a material than it does in a medium. And this is taken into account with how diamonds are cut, so that when light shines onto the face of a diamond, it reflects internally within the diamond, then reflects out of the face of the diamond. This combines with dispersion and is responsible for the glittering seen in a diamond. Dispersion. What you see happening through the prism on the right, where white light enters the prism and an array of colors leave, is described as dispersion. This is also known as fire. The most desired amount of dispersion in a stone can be a little bit of a personal choice. Some people conventionally think that the more fire there is, the more beautiful the diamond is. But some consumers may also believe that too much fire in a diamond can make it look too glittery and tacky. Color. Diamonds are ranked from D to Z, moving, and that's the table number 1 here, moving from D to Z, with D being colorless to Z being light yellow. A diamond that's closer to D is typically seen as more desirable and will cost more. Further, diamonds can be prized for coming in a variety of colors. These are actually called fancy diamonds, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to be focusing on colorlessness as the desired color. There is also a scale used to determine clarity, used to grade clarity, where the less inclusions there are, the higher grade the diamond is. Now that the parameters of how gemstones are judged for value have been covered, it's worth seeing how natural diamonds compare to alternatives in the context of their use as gemstones. Alternatives to natural diamonds can be divided into synthetic diamonds and diamond stimulants. Synthetic diamonds are diamonds, but they're just lab grown and they are still diamonds, whereas stimulant diamonds are gemstones that aren't diamonds, but they do look similar enough to diamonds that they could replace them. And these are the examples of stimulant diamonds that we will be talking about later. Synthetic diamonds are chemically identical to diamonds. They have the same dispersion, the same index of refraction and chemical composition, but they have some key characteristic differences. And these are rooted in the differences in how they form. For example, synthetic diamonds are notably devoid of imperfections. Natural diamonds will have some imperfections, and these can function as a signature, but the lack of imperfections in synthetic diamonds surprisingly also makes their lattice structure more ordered and strong, and thus makes them harder than natural diamonds. Despite this, synthetic diamonds can be produced more easily and quickly, and therefore they lose the rarity that gives natural diamonds some of their value, and for that reason, synthetic diamonds can actually be relatively cheap. Impurities in the production process of making synthetic diamonds can also color them yellowy, and that can be seen unfavorably. The most popular diamond stimulants are cubic zirconia, clear sapphires, and moissanite. Cubic zirconia and moissanite, at least, can appear very colorless, especially because they're made in labs. All three are generally colorless, and all of them are durable enough for use in jewelry. This chart outlines some of the important characteristics used in determining the quality of gemstones. This includes hardness on the Mohs scale, refractive index, dispersion, and price. The red in each row denotes which gemstone ranks highest for that characteristic, while the green is the worst ranked in that row. So it's following the color of red, orange, yellow, and then green. So looking from this chart, we can see that diamonds are very clearly the hardest substance, but sapphire and moissanite are already hard enough where the difference is not significant enough to be useful for jewelry. So it's not really something worth worrying over, really. Cubic zirconia and diamonds seem comparable in optical properties, but cubic zirconia costs much less than diamonds. Despite this, the downfall is that cubic zirconia is much softer than a diamond, and it would wear out relatively quickly. Sapphire has the least amount of fire and the lowest refractive index out of these 4 gemstones, and it would likely look the dullest for this reason, but it's also cheaper than both diamonds and moissanite, and it is very hard. Moissanite in particular has a hardness close to the hardness of diamonds. It also ranks higher optically than diamonds. They have a higher dispersion and more fire than diamonds. So, and even despite this, they are cheaper than diamonds. Looking at the picture over here with the 4 gems, you can kind of see how all 4 of these gemstones look pretty similar, and that's why they function as diamond stimulants. Looking at the picture down below, this is a picture to be looked at a little cautiously because it doesn't come from an academic source, but you can see how these dispersion numbers are reflected in this picture. Moissanite has the highest dispersion rating by a large value, and that's why you can see these like large rainbows, whereas diamonds and cubic zirconias have relatively similar dispersions, and that's why they look pretty similar to each other. So now that we've seen the alternatives to mine diamonds, it's also worth looking into why it might be worth it to buy diamond alternatives as opposed to mine diamonds. Not only are lab-grown diamond alternatives cheaper, but diamond mining is associated with many bad environmental and ethical practices that lab-grown gemstones are less concerned with because they're made in the lab. And some of these also probably apply to the colorless sapphire, because if it came from the ground, it would have similar issues. So ethical issues regarding regarding diamonds, diamond mining include that because many mineral reserves are in countries with less intensive worker protection laws, workers in these areas can be working in sweatshops, making around $1 a day in countries like, well, in places like Africa and India. These sweatshops frequently run on child labor, with children being physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, and working in dangerous conditions. Another major issue concerning considering diamond mining is blood diamonds. Blood diamonds are diamonds that are sold by militant groups in countries with ongoing civil wars. The money earned from selling the diamonds then go back to fund the wars. Blood diamonds are associated with many conflicts, particularly in the continent of Africa. And one such notable conflict is in Sierra Leone with a rebel army named the Revolution United Front. This army was infamous for mutilation, murder, just a laundry list of terrible crimes against humanity. And in the middle of this, De Beers, which was a company that used to have a monopoly over the diamond industry, was heavily linked to buying blood diamonds. And so therefore, the company was indirectly providing funding for practices that worsened wars in parts of Africa. Now the UN has placed an embargo on conflict diamonds, and further, the Kimberley process was created, and it's used to certify the sourcing of diamonds with a certificate to ensure that diamonds aren't blood diamonds. The Kimberley process is a little suspicious though, because it is directly linked to De Beers. And De Beers really like suffered a loss because of this. And Kimberley is like kind of erasing that loss. And it's suspicious because even the name Kimberley is linked to the origins of De Beers. And Kimberley claims that 100% of their diamonds are conflict free. And there are many sources that are pretty skeptical of that claim. Environmental impact. The environmental impact of mining for diamonds is drastic and primarily stems from the harm done during mining. In the process of clearing land for mining, deforestation can occur, exhaust from heavy machinery can cause the air quality to drop, rivers are often rerouted, and artificial dams can be built because diamonds are often found in alluvial deposits. Further, these rivers can be polluted with runoff and byproducts from mining. This, combined with the noise pollution from heavy machinery, means that many ecosystems are largely disturbed and harmed by mining. Further, there are people that live on this land and they lose their source of livelihood. There are many accounts of farmers losing their land to expanding mining operations. And to make things worse, these farmers live in poor countries where they don't have a government that is able or willing to help them. Finally, while diamonds are associated with prestige and wealth, and possess several unique properties, diamond mining causes many severe ethical and environmental issues. At the same time, there are many comparable lab-grown gems that can be used instead of diamonds for a cheaper cost to the consumer and a similar quality. And on top of that, they're more ethically and environmentally acceptable to use. Further, it is important to acknowledge that while lab-grown gems are relatively better for the environment, they do need a lot of energy use, and that is not good for the environment. So while gemstones may be culturally significant, it's kind of important to know where they come from, and the things that we can do are we can vote with our wallets, And we can also vote politically and try to move things so that they're more in favor of ethical and green practices. Thank you for your time. And this is my bibliography. It's linked in my discussion.